Hi, welcome to NonStopChess channel. Today we will look into sacrifices made during Middlegame. We are going to look into the game between Bronstein David and Najdorf Miguel. Usually in the middle game, the sacrifices are possible in the h7, f7 or in e6 square. We will look into the sacrifice on h7 square, or also known as Emanuel Lasker sacrifice. A little bit about Emanuel Lasker. He was a German chess player, a mathematician and a philosopher who was a world chess champion for 27 long years, from 1894 to 1921, the longest reign of any officially recognized world chess champion in history. Okay, let's look into this game and see how in middle game you get this opportunity to sacrifice in the h7 square. In this game, white plays d4, black responds with nf6, nf3, e6, bishop f4, b6, e3, bb7, nbd2, bishop e7, h3, oo, c3, c5, bd3, d5, ne5, nbd7, queen f3, a6, g4, b5, rook d1, queen b6. In the middle game, we'll have to analyze the position and see what is the plan of attack. Here, white has not yet castled, but all his pieces are active. His bishop is attacking on the h7 square. His knight is in the 5th rank and centrally placed. His black bishop is also on a f4 square, which is developed from the c1, and his rook is very powerful in the h1. Black on the other side doesn't seem to have much weakness. Only thing is his queen and rook and bishop is all active on the queen side. In this kind of situation, white will definitely have a good opportunity to attack on the king side. Let us see now how white can plan a strategy. Plan here in this game, there is a knight here that is occupying the f6 square. Usually a knight in the f square will not allow the sacrifice. So the best way is first to kick the knight from this f6 square. Once this knight is kicked, there is an opportunity for us to plan for a sacrifice. So let us see how white does that. So he plays the move g5. Now the knight has to move, or black has an option to first exchange this knight and then move this knight to a safer position. So black now takes this knight and attacks the queen, so it's forced. Here white can simply capture with the bishop. In this situation, the best defense is usually to go on the knight e8 square, so it protects the g7 pawn, and the knight when in e8 usually can defend the key squares for the king. But instead black makes a mistake. He wanted to attack this bishop, so the beginner or regular player will make this mistake of taking it to nd7. And now the 14 moves are completed, which means the middle game is ready. So white in this position is ready for a sacrifice, and you can pause the video and see what move that will be. Yes, white sacrifices his bishop. Now king is forced to take it. Queen back to king g8. Now comes another sacrifice. So bishop into g7. King is again forced to take the bishop. Queen h6. King is forced to king g8. Now a beautiful but a simple and elegant move, g6. Here it's interesting that after this move, if white wants to win, he has to be careful of not. In this, the black actually looks like by playing f into g6 he can escape with a draw, but white, if f into g6, need to carefully play the accurate moves. Let us see what happens. Here f into g6, queen into g6, king h8, queen h6, king g8, rook g1, b g5. Now here white needs to be careful. He should not take it with the rook into g5. It's very tempting, but if you do, the king actually can go to f7 square and escape. So be careful not to take rook into g5. Instead, first you play the queen g6. Now the king is forced to king h8. Now you capture with rook g5 and there is no defense for this checkmate. If black tries to defend, white just simply have to queen g7 and checkmate. So in this position, now black should not take with this pawn. So the better defense is knight f6. Here white should not push this pawn, which will be very tempting for a beginner. If you push this pawn, what black can simply do is he can just take his knight here to h7, and once you promote this pawn into queen, the bishop, now white will need a lot more moves to checkmate the black, because the king has this escape square and this knight will protect the f6 square. There is a very good defense that is possible since white has sacrificed two bishops, so it will be very difficult actually if you do this variation. So instead, don't do that, and just when black plays knight f6, you play knight f3. The idea is you bring the knight to the e5 square and there will be no defense for black. We will see the continuation. So now in this scenario, so taking with the pawn is not recommended. So black in the game played rook f d8. Here white simply has to play knight e5, and in the real game black resigns, since if after f into g6, white simply has to first give a check here. If he moves to h8, then the knight check mate. Instead, if he moves f into g6, check, and if he moves to f8 and then queen f7 mate. Hope you all like this beautiful middle game h7 sacrifice. To summarize, if you are an attacking player, in the middle game look for sacrifices on the h7, f7 or e6 square. The sacrifice is usually done when black has his piece in the queen side. Hope you get a chance to play this at some point. Thank you.